Hey, thanks for dropping by. Come on in.
Time to retire to the drawing room.
At 18 minutes to 8, you're in the drawing room on RN Drive. Welcome to it. And tonight, we're going to try to figure out creative minds. What makes them tick and what makes them just so damn difficult to live with. Julie Crabtree is in this circumstance. In fact, it's worse than that because in addition to being married to someone with a creative mind, she's a psychologist herself. So there's a clinical thing going on here. It just gets very messy. And so she's written a book with her husband, Jeff. It's called Living with a Creative Mind. She joins me in the drawing room. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
And sorry for your difficulty.
Oh, look, I've had it for a number of years.
Yes.
And I'm resigned to it.
Yeah. Well, let's see if it gets any easier. We'll talk about that. Joining us in the drawing room is Tracy Harvey.
Oh, hello, Waleed.
Much loved actor, writer, comedian and creative type who's got a new show called Prick, which pretty much sums up exactly why it would be so difficult living with it. Are you difficult to live with?
He'd be tricky,
Now,
Jerry.
I got a feeling, given the difficulty I've had in getting you to answer this question, it would be very
What is
difficult.
the question? I've lost track.
Would you be difficult to live with?
Yes, I am. I
Yes.
am. But I think my family get a lot of pleasure out of seeing me when I'm enjoying myself, doing something.
Okay, but this is interesting. Are you saying the pressure comes from the work? Or are you saying that the people who end up in that work, they're just wired in such a way that makes them really hard to live with?
Well, they're wired in such a way.
Yeah.
They
Explain the wiring in Tracy's presence so that she can observe your description of her
So
wiring.
what you notice with Tracy is that what we see is rapid fluid thinking, able to
Yes.
make unique associations.
Yep.
So suddenly...
That no one else can follow.
Well, I
Julie's
thought
following
I was
one.
following it really well, actually. But
Your experience.
God, she's trained.
I am experienced, but you see her in the moment being able to think very quickly, to be able to draw from a kaleidoscope of experiences.
I have
to have
made notes, Julie.
A memory bank of different things that you drew on in that moment to create something new. And that's what creative people have. Along with that, they have this unique sensitivity, and I like to think of it as an echidna with a whole lot of antenna. Now, for many of us, we've got about 20 quills out taking in information. Creative people have about 120. So they're taking a lot more sensory information than people with lower creativity have. I think my view is that often creative people have got two speeds, full on, dead stop, nothing in between.
Is that true of you?
Well, I think there is that you're very vulnerable to those extremes of feeling like you're really achieving and then feeling like you're just terrible at what you're trying to do. It does take a lot of perseverance because you're your biggest critic. In all the stand-up comics in town will tell you how bad they feel after a bad gig when they feel like they've bombed. That's what I love about your book, Julie, because you really give good strategies in here, and I particularly love the ending about the spiritual element, that if you learn to realise that, like they used to do apparently before the Renaissance, is this right? That people thought they had a gift. You viewed someone that was, let's say, Leonardo da Vinci, as not so much him being just this incredible artist, but that he's channeling some sort of energy.
He's a receptacle.
He's a receptacle, yeah. And that if you allow yourself to do that, Marina Pryor says that in the book, you're less sort of going to be subject to failure and success, and how to deal with success when it comes, and how to deal with failure.
Wouldn't a lot of people see that as a kind of arrogance these days? That you say, I am the receptacle of this extraordinary gift.
Well, it can sound like that, but I think it is a practical way to look at it. Because, if you sort of think about, say writing a song, writing a musical, which is what I've been doing for a couple of years, it requires sort of hard work. But there are moments where you do have a great time where things will just sort of fall into place, and it can be quite magical, and you can't explain it, and people will say, that's a great tune, it's fantastic. So it's a combo of having worked at it, but also it is like something's kind of come through you, and there it is. So
You're not the author of it.
You're not the author of it. And I guess if you can be a bit detached, that's not a bad.
Tracy Harvey is my other guest in the drawing room. Writer, comedian, actor. Has a new show called Prick. We have about 40 seconds for you to tell us what it's
Prick
about.
the musical. I've written down the premise because it's so easy to stuff this up.
Oh, yes.
A TV celebrity is admitted to hospital with a broken penis and he falls in love with a lowly receptionist.
Of course.
It's the Prick the Musical. We're on at the Flying Saucer Club during the Comedy Festival, and we hope to see you there.
And that's from the 5th to the 14th of April.
And we have the fabulous John Wood in the show, and Gemma Ricks from Wicked, and a cast of 9. Jessica Raffa from Dancing with the Stars is our choreographer, and she's in the show. Sam C, the magnificent Sam C, the musician, is our musical director. We've got so much talent in the show, Julie. It's breathtaking.
And with a premise like that, it's hard to believe that you would be difficult to live with at all. I mean, while you're going through the creative process of putting that together, I would have thought everything would be perfectly normal and serene.
It is at home, very normal.
It is now.
Now that I've got a bottle of whiskey to go to.
It better be. Well, that's part of the Melbourne Comedy Festival. I'm just about out of here. Julia Crabtree, Tracy, Harvey, thanks so much for coming into the
Pleasure.
Drawing Room.
Thank you for having us.
It's been wonderful to have your company and yours as well, dear listener. I'll be back tomorrow from 6 o'clock on RN Drive. Hope to see you then.